So we are now ready to roll. 45 minutes is the race duration. Red lights on, out now, and a good start from the second row made by the diesel-powered car, number 113 of Scott Parkin. Hasn't got into the lead though, but what has gone into the lead is Kester Cook. So Kester Cook takes the lead into Redgate, holds the lead through Redgate, does he? No, the BMW has the advantage on the inside line, so Luke Reed now has the lead as the cars get, one car's almost in the next county. It's way off, but keeping going through the gravel on the outside of Redgate. Meanwhile, all the others head in the right direction down towards the old hairpin, and it is Luke Reed leading. But not making a good escape at the moment. Kester Cook still going well, and the red Seat, we've got two red cars in the leading group because there's the red Seat there as well, number 113 of Scott Parkin. Now the car's heading down towards the chicane for the first time. And it is the BMW, but not by all that much as they come out of the chicane. All right, very wide coming out of the chicane and hanging on is the number 6, Bradley Burns Renault Clio. They're side by side, but Luke Reed on the inside line defends that lead effectively. In third place is the Seat, number 113, Scott Parkin. In fourth place, Kester Cook. And in fifth place, number 121, Ben Davis's Clio. And in sixth place, number 44, Jordan Honeybone. It was Ray Honeybone, wasn't it, starting in that car?
And just to let you know, the James Goodall 47 Volkswagen Golf has got going again.
Good.
Apparently it wouldn't go above 5 miles an hour, and when they plugged in that, it was sort of registering, I think they were saying a fuel pressure issue. Oh, there we go, a fuel pressure issue, and they're hoping that last time it did that, the engine blew, but they don't believe it's going to do that this time. It's out there and going again.
Thanks very much, Chris. Right, the first 4 cars making a bit of a breakaway at the moment as they come out of Coppice for the second time. So Luke Reed leading from Bradley Burns in second place at the start of the lap. Now they come into the chicane, that's the order. The red Seat is third. Kester Cook is fourth. I said there was 4 breaking away, but it's not really like that at all. There's a 5th car joining in as well. It's number 121, Ben Davis. Another challenge for the lead, but Luke Reed defending effectively the inside line, then managed to get across to keep the door closed as they get into the corner. Defending the inside line into it, and we've got a car with problems here. Number 25, that's Rob Burnham. Who started in that car. He's having to pull off on the grass. He's pulling off well out of harm's way. He was too late for him to turn into the pit lane by the time the car was failing on him. So it'll mean yellow flags. Will it? Or perhaps not, because the car is well out of the way on the side of the track. Now it's 3 for the lead because Scott Parkin has joined it as well. So as they come up towards Coppice for the third time, we've got Luke Reed's BMW leading, and Bradley Burns, I think, no, he's got back. Bradley Burns back up into second place. Scott Parkin third. And Kester Cook, for the moment, just biding his time and seeing how things are going to evolve ahead of him. And Bradley Burns hangs on the outside line, as charged on the inside by Scott Parkin. It's delayed the pair of them. And so that's given Luke Reed a vital break, perhaps. Bradley Burns just about has second place over the line, but he's got Scott Parkin getting level with him, and the next 2 are there as well. Number 121 now up into 4th place, Ben Davis, albeit briefly. Kester Cook elbowed down to 5th, but they were really side by side over the line. And Ray Honeybone is in that as well, in 6th place in the number 44 Renault Clio. In 7th place is the Porsche, number 60 of Thomas Stephen Moore, and then in 8th place is 53 Kevin Sterling. In 9th place is number 116 Simon Gay's Honda Civic, and in 10th place, number 134, the Mazda MX-5 of Dan Rogers. Is that first group about to split up a little? Well, Luke Reed still leads it. He led over the line by over a second, 1.28 seconds at the start of this 4th lap. But I have a feeling that Burns and Parkin may be able to get back up there with him. Over the line, those two separated by, officially, 0.048 of a second, i.e. nothing at all. So the line streams through the chicane to the end of lap 4. A little bit calmer in the sense that nobody's running side by side with anybody else, and the order doesn't change. It's Reed, Burns, Parkin, Davis, Cook and Honeybone. Lower down the order, the Caterham has come up into 12th place now, number 45. Chris Payne, who qualified 7th, but didn't have a very good start to the race. But is now working his way back up the order in the pink Caterham in 12th place, number 45. Leaders, slot line of effectively 6 cars if you include Ray Honeybone. Under braking for Coppis, Bradley Burns closed in on by Scott Parkin in the Seat Ibiza TDI, the diesel. Into the chicane and out of it. It's still the red BMW leading, perhaps by a little bit more this time. All to say is the same. Trying to catch them up is the Porsche number 60 in 7th place. And then there's a change, yes, another place gained by the Caterham number 45. Chris Payne up into 9th place, is almost back where he started. 3 places gained by the Caterham on that lap, in fact. Lower down up into 17th place has come number 146, Simon Harrison's Clio. Now, there were 28 starters and 28 cars are still running, although James Goodall, Chris told us, was going to be able to start, but I think he's ground to a halt out on the circuit. Oh, Bradley Burns goes very wide, all 4 wheels off the track, coming out of the chicane that time, which has obviously slowed him down somewhat, as he didn't have quite the same amount of traction, and so that's allowed Scott Parker to get level with him as they go into Redgate. But the Clio has the middle of the road, the better line into the corner, doesn't drift wide, so he's still got 2nd place, but Bradley Burns now lost some more time to Luke Reed, who driving a very smooth race out front. Into the pits we've had number 53, the Team Norfolk car, Kevin Sterling, another of the Clios. And in the Caterham, more places gained, well, another place gained, up into 8th place now for Chris Payne in the Caterham 7, taking Dan Rogers with the Mazda MX-5 with him. So number 134 is now 9th. And 10th is 116, Sam Gay. And on this, oh, that was a very large lead. What was it say? It was 1.050, but now Luke Reed getting away from 4 cars fighting over 2nd place, who are delaying each other. And the car that's been in the pits is trying to rejoin when the fight for second place was going past it. But I think he's been able to rejoin safely now. That's number 53 came in, wasn't it? Kevin Sterling. Yeah, the lead, Luke Reed's lead has doubled in the space of a lap. It's now up to 2.7 seconds, Chris.
Yeah, to let you know about Mr. Sterling coming in the 53 car, Team Norfolk. He reported that the water temperatures were running a bit high, so came in, understandably, just for them to check it. They've looked and can't see anything wrong, so they're taking the risk and sending him back out again.
Let's hope it's a risk not rashly taken, because you don't want to have a blown engine. Last time around, Luke Reed, yes, I say he opened up the lead that he had over Bradley Burns and co, but he also set the new fastest lap of the race at 1:22.105. So at the moment, you wouldn't expect it to be down to the lap times that he was doing in qualifying, but he's now, perhaps he was taking it easy to begin with, he's just now running away. Bradley Burns is second. The Seat starts out on that lap. In third place now is 1:21. Ben Davis's Clio. In fourth place is Kester Cook, coming back into the picture in the number 93 front row starting Ford Fiesta. Fifth is 113 in the Seat, Scott Parkin, and sixth is still Ray Honeybone in the number 44 Clio. And Chris Payne is seventh. Now he's got 3.2 seconds to make up on the Honeybone car. Before he gains another place. And the lead now that Luke Reed has is up to nearly 4 seconds. He's opening up a second a lap now, 3.9 at the end of the previous lap. With, I think, little prospect now of being caught by the group behind. So here is the BMW to complete 9 laps. And the group behind, Burns, Davis and Cook in that order. And up into 5th place now has come Ray Honeybone, his Clio, ahead of Scott Parkin. The Seat beginning to fade a little. And is in danger of being caught by the Caterham, I think, it's fair to say, because Chris Payne was something like 3 seconds behind. He's now only 1.3 seconds behind. What do his lap times look like? Compared with the other cars, the Caterham is now lapping as quickly as anything. His last lap was a 1:22.5, and ahead of him, only one other car is lapping at that pace, and that's Bradley Burns in second place. So the Caterham is worth keeping an eye on. Having lost time on the opening lap, Chris Payne in 7th place and catching those ahead. Otherwise, no change in the order, just in the size of the gaps between some of the cars. Leader into and through the chicane. Luke Reed completes 10 laps. Second is Bradley Burns, but then third, it's Ben Davis, number 121. Ben Davis. Kester Cook 4th, Ray Honeybone 5th. Scott Parkin has dropped to 6th, and Chris Payne is right up behind him. Behind the place change there for 11th, up into 11th place now, is 144 Pete Bennett's Falls Motorsport Clio, ahead of the number 116 Honda of Sam Gay. First and second, the lead come down a little on that lap for 3 seconds. but could be an effect of a bit of lappery called for. Ray Honeyburn has just done his personal best lap of the race last time around, and Chris Payne has now done last time around the fastest lap of the race, a 1:21.353. It took a while to get going in qualifying as well, but he ends up with a 1:22.195. So that fastest lap is quicker than the Caterham managed in qualifying. Davis and Cook nose to tail, and Chris Payne level with Scott Parkin in the set as they go into Red Gate. He doesn't get past the Seat though, which towers over him. And right behind Chris Payne is Ray Honeybone's Clio number 44 in 7th place. Pit window is now open. First one in, number 146. Good thinking if you're a solo driver to come in early, because you don't get in the way of all the other cars or don't get tripped over by them. So Simon Harrison is in, and also in is a shared car. It's the number 12 car, which was started by Scott Thompson. It's going to be handed over to Ben Johansson. Last around, Bradley Burns set the new his personal best lap, I'm sorry. So, as I say, the pit window is open. It's open for 15 minutes. So no hurry to take the pit stop. But you do get it out of the way if you take it early if you're a solo driver, when there's no question of having to do half and half with your co-driver. Ben Davis, Kester Cook still running together. Into the pits comes the number 113 Seat, who was running in the leading group, although it seems to be dropping back a little bit in the leading group. And the pits are getting busier now. Quite a few cars coming in. The first of the leading cars, Scott Parkin, but also in now is number 134, Dan Rogers with the Mazda. In traffic, Luke Reed seems to have lost some of his lead. He's down to 2.5 seconds now, just under. Obviously, for the next 15 minutes or so, the order is going to become pretty jumbled, but Luke Reed stays out there, followed by Bradley Burns, Ben Davis and Kester Cook. The Caterham has come up to 5th place now, but that's partly due to pit stops. Ray Honeybone 6th. There's the leader through. That's another lap. That's 13 laps completed. Bradley Burns still 2nd. Into the pits this time comes Kester Cook and Ray Honeybone. Kester Cook stays in the car. Ray Honeybone will hand over to his son, Jordan Honeybone. 144 also in. That's the green Clio of Pete Bennett. So yet to stop, numbers 16, 121 and 45. Leader comes through, going still very fast. Luke Reed and Bradley Burns in the pits in the 2nd place, number 6 Clio. Kester Cook, I think I mentioned, was in, yes, from the previous lap, but Bradley Burns in the pits this time. So Ben Davis, number 121, is now 2nd, but over 5 seconds behind the leading BMW. 116 comes in. The Honda Civic of Sam Gay. Well, the first three cars still to stop. Luke Reed's BMW, Ben Davis in the 121 Clio, and Chris Payne in the Caterham.
I'm going to quickly grab a word with Ray Honeybone. Ray, just jumped out of that car, handed it over to your son. You had an absolute grandstand seat of just some phenomenal racing out there.
Yeah, awesome. Absolutely awesome. I was part of it until the last lap. Darkside got up the inside. Well, I'm not quite sure what happened, but I had to back out. And, yeah, we just got sort of 10 or 15 yards behind it. But up until that point, I was on the back of it for the whole part. It was, yeah.
It's probably quite a tricky decision to make because, you know, you don't win the race on the first lap or the opening stint, but you sure as heck can lose it. And it was getting really brutal out there, so it's like knowing when to show your nose.
Yeah, I decided if I can keep with them, I'll let Jordan do the overtaking bit. But the old boys still got it. I kept with them for the first stint, so I'm happy.
It looked good. Was it as fun as it looked?
More. It really was. It really was. It's really good, close. Everyone gave each other room. It's what racing's all about.
Absolutely. Well done. Great job. So that was it. Give us the insights, Ian, from what looked rather fraught out there, didn't it?
Well, absolutely. Well, that's what you like to hear, though. The drivers enjoying themselves, having good, close racing without people being upset with each other. And that's what I think has made the track day type of race such a popular type of racing for MSVT and MSVR. Well, whilst Chris was having that chat with Ray Honeybone, staying out still are Luke Reed and Chris Payne. There's only 6.5 seconds between them. I'm not suggesting that the Caterham is becoming a contender to win, because there's that deficit that time that he lost early on, but he has set the fastest lap of the race and he's still lapping more quickly than the leader. In the Caterham, into the pits comes number 88, started by Alistair Kellett, that Ford Fiesta. And up into third place for the moment anyway is the number 60 Porsche of Thomas Stephen Moore, Porsche 968, the front engine Porsche. There's Jordan Honeybone through. For the moment, down in 16th place, but that's of course partly because cars ahead have yet to make their pit stops. There are about 8 or 9 cars in the leaders, amongst the leaders, who have yet to stop. Chris? No. And the leader is in, so the number 1 BMW, Luke Reed, into the pits. He doesn't have a co-driver to hand over to, so he's going to be stationary for a minute. Chris Payne has not come in, so he will lead for a lap at least. But the Porsche's coming in from third place, the blue Porsche, front engine Porsche 968, number 60. We hand over to Andrew Ball. Also in is the 66 Clio of Richard Clark. Where is our Caterham? Here it is, stays out for another lap, and that means that, as I suggested, it'll be in the lead for the moment, being one of the few cars yet to stop. So 18 laps have been completed by Chris Payne in the Caterham number 45. Wouldn't be surprised to find Luke Reed come through all right a long way behind, but nonetheless in second place in the number 1 BMW, which will become first place once more once the Caterham stops. Ben Davis goes through number 121. Now he's running in 7th place. He's made his pit stop. He's ahead of Bradley Burns, ahead of Kester Cook, and ahead of Scott Parkin. But I don't think he'll be ahead of Luke Reed. Now the Caterham must surely come in at the end of this lap, I would have thought. No, going on for another lap. When's the window going to close? Yes, you can just squeeze in one more, I would have thought, before the window closes. For 18.5 minutes to the end. See that number 12, Clio, has lost its front balance. That's the car that was started by Scott Thompson, now being driven by Ben Johansson. So Chris Payne has gone through, leading in the pink Caterham, number 45. And the BMW comes through now, but with Ben Davis, number 121's Clio, right behind it. So second and third at the moment, numbers 1 and 121, with Bradley Burns not that far behind them either in number 6. And Kester Cook is right behind Bradley Burns. And Scott Parkin isn't that far behind that lot. So it's the same mix, but in a different order. And they are, at the moment, over a lap behind the Caterham. The Caterham has yet to make it stop. It's the only car yet to make the mandatory pit stop. And he's coming in now, and he's chosen to do so behind, got no alternative but to do so behind another car, which may not be quite as, there is a pit lane speed limit, but 66 it is going down the pit lane.
Drive-through penalty. Yeah.
Right. Yeah,
I'm not really sure what the issue is. He was told he's got a 5-second penalty. Now, that we know will be track limits, but a drive-through as well before you've even come in for your pit stop. So I have no idea what that's for.
Well, the Clio had made its pit stop.
Yeah, it had. No, but they were told this whilst they were still stood here. So not sure where the drive-through came from, but the 5-second, they're pretty certain will be track limits.
Right, well, you got Chris, the leader, when he came into the pits, Chris Payne, delayed on the opening lap, worked his way back up to the front, and now as they go through, that next group of cars, Luke Reed, Ben Davis, Bradley Burns, Kester Cook, Scott Parkin, have all put themselves on the same lap. So the question is, how long will it be? And the Caterham has stopped at the top end of the pit lane, so it's got the whole length of the pit lane to negotiate once the period of time stationary has expired. Into the pits comes 56. Was it 56? Don't we have a 56? Anyway. Oh, is it 6? Yeah, it could. No, it's not Bradley Burns either. Anyway, there's a car still coming to the pits. So when will the Caterham be released?
They've still sat here patiently. They've sort of tightened up the wheels more. We've just seen also a drive-through penalty being given to, I think it's 144 Pete Bennett. I don't think the penalties are coming up on TSL for some reason, which is a shame. Here we go. Here goes the Caterham. It's now heading back in there. I feel nervous when I see that car out. So much lower than the cars around it, isn't it? But he's going back into the race.
Very, very slowly down the pit lane to make sure he doesn't encroach on the speed limit as they all go through. So he's going to drop behind them. There they go, down into Redgate on the racetrack. In the pit lane is the Caterham. It'll rejoin at the tail end of the leading group. which is about right, really. It's unlikely it's going to gain any ground on the pit stop, and it's rejoined where it was, but it's part of the leading group in effect. So Luke Reed leads from Ben Davis by 0.3 of a second, with Bradley Burns third, Kester Cook fourth, Scott Parkin fifth, Jordan Honeyburn sixth, and seventh is Chris Payne in the Caterham. 144 taking his drive through. I hope that's the right speed limit to go down the pit lane at.
Yeah, I thought that in qualifying this morning, but he's there sort of like bouncing off a limiter that's in there. It's whether they've got it set right.
Oh, well, of course, yeah, that's right. Right, well, we've got 14.25 minutes to go, and we have 6-7 cars in the leading group. And as we saw in the first part, Luke Reed in the BMW does seem to have the edge. Albeit his racing experience is largely in front-wheel drive. Tin tops rather than the rear-wheel drive BMW. Nonetheless, he's certainly adapted himself to it. The pit window is now closed. Everybody's done. Here they come then, past the pits. Luke Reed leading. Bradley Burns is now second. Ben Davis is down to third. Kester Cook is fourth. Chris Payne in the Caterham is fifth. Sixth is Scott Parkin in the Seat. Seventh is Jordan Honeybone in the number 44 Clio. And then in eighth place is Dan Rogers in the number 134 Mazda MX-5. They've all gone through. That's the first 8. Ninth place is number 34, and that's the young George Alp Williams in his first ever race. Chris.
Yeah, just to let you know, another couple of penalties. That 37 and 88 have both got 2 second stop and go penalties. So in other words, they'll be 2 seconds too short in their pit stop. 75, car number 75, has a 4 second stop and go. So it would have been 4 seconds too short for its pit stop.
Are you getting these from the board in the pit lane or from another source?
Other sources. the officials down here basically ferreting to get the answers to it, because as we say, is that we're not being told on the screen.
No, we're not. So, that's right. So
yeah,
thanks for keeping abreast of that.
No problem.
Okay, 12.5 minutes to go. And here come the line again. A BMW, some Clios, a couple of Clios, a Fiesta and the Caterham. Not quite with them, but nearly there. They fan out across the track as they go into Redgate. The order doesn't change, it almost was shuffled there. So the Caterham is 5th. Jordan Honeybone is 6th, but some way back, like 5 seconds behind the Caterham. Scott Parkin, that's faded a little. The Seat is dropped behind the Honeybone car now. And Dan Rogers in the 134 Mazda MX-5 is 8th. 9th is George Alp Williams. And 10th is 116 Sam Gay's Honda Civic. The leading train of cars heading into Coppice. I'd say on this lap the Caterham has closed up a little on them. But picking up Chris's point, will they see it? It's a bit of a smaller car, lower car. Anyway, it's closing up. So it's 5 in the leading train now. Bradley Burns all over the grass coming out of the chicane. Lost a bit of momentum as a result. That's allowed Ben Davis to close up on him. They're almost side by side, the two Clios, as they turn into Redgate. Bradley Burns has the inside line. Kester Cook sees an opening, goes through and takes... Yeah, Bradley Burns through into... Sorry, not Bradley Burns. Kester Cook goes up into 3rd place, ahead of Ben Davis, who ran a bit wide in fending off. Yeah, in fending off Ben Davis. Right, so first 8 through. I think they've their lap time suggests they're in about the right sort of places. Nobody's catching anybody. It's just that leading group from which the winner is like to come. The Team Banana Racing Will Jackson Moore car coming in to pay its penalty. goes up back on its way after a stop-go. Short stop-go. And it's the turn of the leader to go all over the grass that time, coming out of the chicane. Sort of thing that's going to attract warning flags, that I would have thought. Anyway, Kester Cook is back up ahead of Ben Davis. No, Kester Cook is now third. Ben Davis down to fourth. Chris Payne just behind them all in fifth. Sixth is Jordan Honeyburn. Seventh is Scott Parkin in the red Seat. And eighth in the Mazda number 134 is Dan Rogers. Ninth, number 34. George Alp Williams, and in 10th place, Sam Gay, number 116. Very smartly turned out car there, number 69 in 13th place, the Honda Civic, the White Knight Racing Honda Civic, now being driven by Aaron Harding. David Slater having started the race in that car. Another of these immaculate clears goes through number 53, Kevin Sterling's car, which made a pit stop, didn't it? He's down in 23rd place. Another car going wide coming out of the chicane that time. Number 27, Clive Goldthorpe now driving it. Leaders through. No change in the order. The gaps, first to second, 0.7 of a second. Second to third, 0.99 of a second, quarter a second gap between the second and third place cars. And between Ben Davis and Chris Payne, nothing at all. 0.3, if that. That time around, Bradley Burns did his new personal best lap at 122.069, but ahead of him, Luke Reed did a new personal best lap at 122.029. Yeah, Sam Gay and Simon Harrison embroiled in the battle for 10th place, 116 and 146, running absolutely together. The class leaders, incidentally, Class B is the race leader, Luke Reed. Class C is led by Sam Gay, number 116 in 10th place, and that's a class battle with number 146, Simon Harrison's Clio. Honda against Clio then for Class C. And Class D is led by, in 19th place, number 26, Ronan Quinn. Luke Reed now beginning to pull away from Bradley Burns. Lead was 1.5 seconds that time through. So it does rather look as though he had something up his sleeve. Fastest lap by number 45. Chris Payne, yes, that was something some time ago, wasn't it? 121.353 is still the fastest lap. So Chris Payne now into 4th place, ahead of Ben Davis, but he has to find 2.5 seconds to get onto the podium with the Caterham. Got 5 3/4 minutes remaining. Personal best lap last time through by Luke Reed, which included an absolute best first sector. And he is drawing well away now from Bradley Burns. So it's a BMW leading Renault Clio, leading a Ford Fiesta. Then the Caterham in 4th place, number 45, ahead of Ben Davis and Jordan Honeybone. Then the Seat number 113 in 7th place. Dan Rogers Mazda is 8th. And what about our Class C battle? Gay and Harrison. And Luke Reed just going quicker and quicker. He's done an absolute best first sector again on this lap. Gator Harrison going up 2.2 seconds now in favour of Sam Gay. In car 116, running in 10th place, the Honda Civic. Another lap ticked off by Luke Reed in the number 1 BMW. Bradley Burns, Kester Cook. Then a small gap back to Chris Payne, who's turning the wick up. He's just done the absolute best middle sector. The lap he's just finished. He also has got the fastest lap of the race from earlier on. So as the fuel load comes down, the lap times are coming down as well. They've now completed, the leaders have 28 laps. Here's our Class battle coming through, Class C battle, becoming less and less of a, well, no, not really, it's still 1.2 seconds between them. The gap's actually come down again, so 116 and 146, Sam Gay to Simon Harrison. That class battle far from over. First to second gap, 1.9 seconds last time through. This time through, oh, side by side there, Bradley Burns and Kester Cook. And Kester Cook, I think, has just about got the advantage as they go into a red gate. Bradley Burns fights back. They're side by side into red gate. They're side by side through the corner, the Clio and the Fiesta. And of course, this is helping Chris Payne because he's sitting right behind them. As long as they don't clash and take him out, he could gain from all this. So the car's into the old hairpin now. There's the leader going into Starkey's. The Caterham may have actually gained another place. And next time over, well, no, we may get 2 more laps actually. There is 1 minute and 51 seconds remaining. The lap time is 1 minute and 21 or 22 seconds. So I'm pretty sure we've got another lap after this one. Where is the leader then? The red BMW. It's going to be touch and go actually. Here it comes. And the amount of time left on the clock is 1 minute and 27 seconds. So will we get the checker flag next time through? There is Bradley Burns in second place. Chris Payne is up into third place, as I thought. Kester Cook is down to fourth. Jordan Honeyman is in the mix as well in fifth place. Scott Parkin is a couple of seconds adrift of it. And Ben Davis is the one who's lost out there over the last 2 or 3 laps. He's dropped down from what was second not so long ago. He's now down in car 121 in 7th place. Well, at the current pace, there may be time for one more lap. And Luke Reed is determined to get it if he can, because he's just done the absolute best first sector on this lap in the number 1 BMW. His lead now over Bradley Burns, 4.2 seconds. So he's keeping the hammer down right the way through to the end. I don't have the statistic about how many times a BMW has won a race. He goes over the line now, doesn't get the flag. There were about 5 seconds on the clock, as I thought there might be. And the Caterham's fallen back. So having got himself up to third place, Chris Payne has now dropped back down to fifth. So Bradley Burns is still second, now with Kester Cook shadowing him, but 2.5 seconds adrift. So something came unstuck for the Caterham there. Kester Cook is third, number 93. Fourth is 44, Jordan Honeybone. And fifth is Chris Payne in the Caterham. Just ahead of 113, Scott Parkin in the Seat. Ben Davis, number 121, seventh. And eighth is Dan Rogers in the Mazda. And as for the Class C battle, that's going to go right down to the wire as well. Still Sam Gay from Simon Harrison, but as they started the final lap, less than half a second separated them. Cars numbers 116 and 146. Well, the win should be going to Luke Reed in the BMW 130i. Here he comes, up to the checkered flag. So Luke Reed wins. Second place goes to Bradley Burns in the number 6 Renault Clio. Third place to Kester Cook in the number 93 Ford Fiesta. Fourth place to Jordan Honeybone in the number 44 Clio share with his dad, Ray Honeybone. Fifth place to Chris Payne in the number 45 Caterham. Sixth place to number 113 Scott Parkin in the red Seat. Seventh place to 134 Dan Rogers in the Mazda MX-5. Ben Davis, number 121, crosses the line going rather slowly as if some sort of problem set in for his Clio in the closing stages, but he got across the line in 8th place. Still to come is the Class C battle, which goes to the Honda number 116 of Sam Gay, who finishes at the flag just slightly further ahead than he was at the start of the lap, points 5.89 of a second, clear of Simon Harrison in the number 146 Renault Clio. And between them and the cars in first to 8th places was young George Alp Williams in the number 34 Honda Civic, started by Tim Evans. Well, the class winners then, the race won by Luke Reed from Class B. Class C won by number 116 Sam Gay. Class D won by number 26 Ronan Quinn. And Class G, which may or may not claim a place on the podium, won by number 134 Dan Rogers in the Mazda. Well, a pretty well-executed race that by all concerned, considering the number of starters, and very few cars found their way into the gravel. Let's hope we can keep it that way for the rest of the day. Next out for their second race of the day, and the final race of the day for them, the Radical SR1 cars.